Good evening, folks. Morning. How's everybody doing? Waratahs and Brumbies. It's getting underway in a little bit. How is everybody doing? I can see Elliot is here, who approves of this Tars jersey. Indeed, it is pretty nice. Kane says, I think the Tars are the most improved side for this year. They were pretty terrible last year, so it's setting the benchmark pretty low. But likewise, I'm kind of impressed with how they've come along. Yeah, this will be a good indication of where they are kind of actually at tonight. I just saw some of the pre-match stuff, and it looks like it's another wet one. But we'll have to wait and see. Stefno, good morning, man. How's it going? Dean, Fleshin, Novmum. Yeah, Novmum. Novmum's a Chiefs fan, if you guys weren't aware. I'm going to be dropping a spoiler for that game in about 5 seconds if you haven't seen it. So mute away now. But the Blues had a lead with like 3 or 4 minutes to go, same as bloody last week, and did their best to throw it away. But the Chiefs missed the penalty at the death to win it. So yeah, spoilers over. Anthony, man, how's it going? Yeah, hoping for a competitive game here for sure. That says you can't get those hats in the UK. Someone once told me when they sent me a Munster beanie that you don't get Munster like caps that much because although he did send me a Munster cap. But the beanies are more common just because it's bloody cold. So, yeah. There we go. Do you have the Brumbies over 10.5 in the first half? I will say no, but I lost $5 on the Crusaders and Moana Pacific yesterday. So what do I know? What do I know? Simon, hopefully you're having a good evening. Interesting game to do a live stream over. I thought you were doing the earlier one. Well, Simon, you make a good point. I was planning to do one of the earlier games. But guess what? My young 6-year-old son tested positive for COVID today. So he's been freaking miserable. Just yesterday I picked up some of those rapid antigen tests. This morning he woke up with a bit of a cough, had his breakfast, and then he was just freaking miserable. So we tested him and sure enough he's got COVID. So yeah, I was having to kind of sort him out and get him to bed when the other games were on. Hence no stream during a New Zealand game. And I figure I'm probably going to catch it from him the way things are going. So we still got to do a stream no matter what. So there you go. That's the reason I didn't do like the Canes and the Highlanders. Bounce of the ball, caught the Blues twice in 2 weeks, Stefano. Yeah, man, the Blues are a bit of a painful team to watch at the moment. Still fun, but God, they go right down to the death, don't they? Stephen, good morning. Beautiful crisp March day in Cork. That's good news. Maybe a day for one of these hats instead of a beanie. Starleo's dropped down from 9 to 65 in the Super BRU. Yeah, that's the thing with the early rounds, is it's pretty easy to drop and rise. Never thought of the weather thing for hats. Me neither, Fleshin, but yeah, there you go. And Novmum, yeah, he tested positive. So, I mean, he's alright. He's just got a fever and he's just feeling pretty sorry for himself and didn't want to eat and slept half the day. It was kind of peaceful because he wasn't running around like a normal 6-year-old. But yeah, you know, if you're a parent, you're just like, oh shit, basically. So yeah, hope 3 cents is okay. Yeah, he should be alright, man. I mean, he's 6 years old, so he should bounce back from it pretty quickly. It's me that I'm worried about, selfishly, but nah, I think he'll be alright. And yes, Anthony says, watch out for the bots, moderators. I did notice to you, moderators, that the bots stay banned. Your banning powers are permanent bans. I checked the list of banned people, and it's all those love face or whatever people. So, yeah, there you go. It is the trivia beer, Ellard. I think we'll save it for half time, yeah? The old trivia beer. Hopefully it's an interesting question. I have not read it yet. Jamie, man, good morning. Just watched the Blues Chiefs highlights. Close one. Glad it went my way this week. Bro, I probably would have lost it if we'd lost it at the death 2 weeks in a row, eh? Yeah. God, I was never been so pleased to see someone miss a kick, eh? Apart from maybe 2011 when Tranduk misses that penalty in the World Cup final. What variant have we got down here, Fleshin? We are mostly Omicron with a wee bit of Delta. I think we're like 90+% Omicron. So odds are my son's got Omicron. I kind of knew it was coming because one of the kids in his class had it and schools here aren't shut. So, yeah. I figured he would probably get it sooner rather than later. Sure enough, yeah, he's got it. So there you go. We'll just kind of have to wait and see how that plays out. If I get it, hopefully it's a quick turnaround. But yeah, my daughter's still alright. She hasn't really done anything out of the ordinary, but we'll see. But New Zealand restrictions mean we are stuck home, all four of us, for the next 10 days. So I can't take my kids nowhere. It's me, my wife, and 2 kids stuck at home for 10 days. So that could be pretty interesting. I'm glad I recently bought beer. Although I guess I could get it delivered, but yeah. So, happy days. Starleo says, love face. The bot is the most loyal viewer. Seemingly so. Always makes an appearance. I'll be disappointed if we don't get a love face in this one, to be honest. It's like you haven't made it until love face pops along into your stream. Great show from Brad Weber in his 100th. Yeah, man, we've stolen a few of the Chiefs players, so we might as well get him next. We do need kind of an All Blacks halfback, although I guess we got Finlay Christie, so we do have one. But yeah, I think I don't know. Weber hasn't really taken an overseas offer at some point, which is kind of surprising. Ellard's pumped for the Drua. Yes, that's true. The Drua. I mean, I'm also just the Rebels, man. I'm shaking my head. What can I say? But chuffed for the Drua. Alcohol content in beer won't kill the virus. Yeah, you're probably right. I've got some Chinese baijiu there if I need it. Fleshin's wife got it from her school, and it lasted for 3 days. That doesn't sound too bad if you say 3 days, but if you're talking about 3 days of just feeling absolutely miserable, then maybe that doesn't sound great. I don't know. 3 days. Don't know. We'll kind of have to wait and see how it goes. Teams are coming out onto the park if you guys are watching. They're highlighting Andy Muirhead as one of the guys to watch. Baijiu is paint thinner, big V8 show. Well, Baijiu, it's pretty strong stuff. It does the job. Up the Drua for their first win. Hope to see their confidence improve. Yeah. There's nothing like getting a win, and just every game, I reckon they'll be getting a wee bit closer. Right. Game's about to start. Alistair got a boost. The booster shot made you sick for 4 days. Interestingly, Alistair, when I had my second shot, I had a headache for like... The thing said like at most 3 days, and I was like 5 days with a pretty consistent headache, so I guess it did something. Anyway, we're about to kick off. If you're watching the game, we've just had kickoff. My clock is at 10 seconds right about now. So 10 seconds. If you guys are ahead of me, which most of you inevitably are, just please watch the match spoilers. So in case anyone else is behind like me, we don't read about it before we see it. Fleshin's missus thought she was hungover, but she actually had COVID. Bloody hell. I'm too old for hangovers, mate. I don't want that. First try to Harry Johnson Holmes is Jamie Robertson. I forgot to look for him in the lineups. Not actually sure. Not actually sure. He's been playing on the bench the last 2 weeks. Wonder if they'll do any tribute to Warney. No, I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything in terms of a tribute to Shane Warne, who passed away. That was kind of crazy news. Dude's only like 52 years old. My eldest got sent home from school, went on some rat tests, negative 24 hours later, no symptoms. Husband and I both had our boosters. Both kids have had 2 shots. How have both you? Oh, both your kids are above the age where they could get the shots. My son's had 1, but he didn't have enough gap to get a second one. First scrum went to the Brumbies, so they get some good field position. Jeez, Nick White almost dropped it. Time, Gasper, mate. I'm at 2 minutes and 20 seconds right about now. Oh, the Brumbies have lost it. It's going to be a Tars scrum. Looks wet. Looks very wet. Again, for the Tars. The Tars have got the rain following them round. No, Mum, yeah, my daughter's 3. She's not quite 4. She's 4 in a couple of months, so she's too young to get any shots. Big scrum for the Tars. The last one didn't go too good. That one's looking a lot more stable. Here we go. Good exit play. Ooh. Off the side of the boot, that one. That was ugly. Wonder if that's my missus telling me to keep my voice down. Nope. It's one of my mates saying he's happy to drop me food if I need it. Isn't that nice? Because I can't go to buy food for 10 days. Four minutes. Brumbies camped in Tars territory. I mean, ideally in this game, the Tars score first there to make it interesting, but it's looking a bit hairy. The expectation of that message, yeah. Sometimes it's hard, especially if you've got earphones on, to know how loud you're talking. That's why I've only got one ear in. But I know she'll want the kids to have a good rest day. Especially with my son having a fever all freaking day. He probably needs his rest, so she probably doesn't want me waking him up. Oh, try time. Boomfa, only took 4 minutes. 4 minutes, folks. It's probably going to be 7-0, I would say. Because that's pretty close to the sticks. Did anybody pick the Tars for this one? I reckon not many. Not into the world just yet, Allard. We'll see if your Tars can come back into it. Let's see. What did I pick for this one? I picked... Don't tell me I picked the Waratahs. No. Oh, for goodness sake, Super Brew. Why give me an ad? I picked the Brumbies, but only by 6. Have you seen the Cardiff Ulster scores and the Connacht Edinburgh? Again, you probably want to switch off if you're wanting to avoid URC spoilers from last night in Europe. I did see the scores and I watched the Edinburgh Connacht game, which was just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. High scoring from Edinburgh especially. They put on a bunch of points. Jamie, I went by the Brumbies by 6, so yeah, pretty conservative. But that's just me assuming the Tars are indeed better than they were by a lot last year. And the Brumbies are not quite that sharp, but they're already at a point a minute. We're getting a halftime review from Gazza for the Blues game. I actually should have asked him for one, man. That was a bit of a slip-up, wasn't it? I wonder if he sent me one. I haven't been checking my phone. He has sent me some messages. I'll play them at halftime. If it seems like it's not going to be rugby related, I'll turn it off. Oh, mate, going good. Going good. We're watching some Super Rugby, the Aussie teams. Tars are having some errors earlier, so they... Oh, I need to update the score. Goodness gracious me. Update the score. Yeah, the Brumbies are up 7-zip early. Scooter, mate, how's it going? Finally got a stream going. Remember how I told you yesterday I was running around after the kids? My son has got COVID. That might be why I was having to run around for him a bit yesterday. He just seemed a bit off yesterday. That's why I was knackered. But he's alright. Is it still daylight savings? No. Daylight savings I think is only in winter. When I picked up my son from school, I wore my mask in the car just in case I don't normally, but yeah, wanted to play it safe. Fair enough. I'm a bit lazy with the old masks, but I certainly put them on when I'm going to be around any people. But in my car, no, I'll probably take it off. So it just ended. Daylight savings should start in winter, right? Isn't that what it... Because you need to save the daylight in winter. You need to bring the clock earlier. Later. So you get a longer day. Otherwise the sun... I don't know. I forget which way around it goes. You're confusing me as well. We know what we mean though, right? There's a reason Queensland doesn't do daylight savings time. Fun fact, China also doesn't do daylight saving times, and China only has one time zone for the whole freaking country, and it's massive. You can be in Western China and you're setting your clock to the Eastern China time. I don't know. Nearly ending here, I think. Early April, our clocks go back an hour. Isn't when the clocks go back an hour, isn't that daylight savings time? I could be nuts. Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. In Western China, it's sunrise at like 10 o'clock. Yeah, basically. I have been told by some people who lived out that way that they just set their clocks to their own time, like informally, but officially the clock is, yeah, Beijing time. No, Ellen, mate. China has one uniform time zone. Bizarre, right? Some research says daylight savings is bad for people. It was certainly simpler in China to have one time the whole year round. You don't have to worry about them moving forward. And since I've had children, geez, daylight savings sucks. Just, I mean, I'm exaggerating, only for a couple of days. When your kids are used to getting up at that exact time, and suddenly the clocks move and you want to sleep an hour later and your kids are just still getting up at the old time for like the next 3-4 days. It's like, bro, it's only 5 o'clock in the morning. Why are you getting up? Feels like 6. Typhoon Kong, yes, too crazy. Perth is the same as a day. Perth is the same as daylight savings. Brumbies would have kicked another penalty, so there is actually rugby on, despite the talk of daylight savings and whatnot. See what you've done, Big Vientia. Perth, interestingly, same time zone as China, which is kind of weird. Victoria, good morning. How's it going? Alice is in South Africa, so also no daylight savings. Keeping it simple, eh? Just like some other parts of the world. (13, 15 in. Tars have actually got some ball down the Brumbies end for a change. And they've got advantage now. The Brumbies are going to be under some Waratahs pressure at last. Maybe. By the time daylight savings rolls around, I feel like my body is usually ready for it. I wish my children were on that same page. There's probably some smart life hack on how to adjust your children to daylight savings, but I don't know what it is. I just know that children are like pre-programmed. Like if it's a school day, they don't get out of bed until you wake them up. But if it's a weekend, you better believe they're up at the crack of dawn. That just seems pre-programmed. I don't know how that works. I'm pretty sure I was the same as a kid. Off topic, but I fell asleep during the Canes and Landers game, Dominic. Interesting, because that game was scrappy. Very scrappy. It wasn't as slick as you might have wanted it, eh? Has Donaldson got it? No, he's pushed it wide. Perth has no daylight savings, Simon. Right, that's why it's always the same time zone as China. I used to love the Western Force games because they were always on at a good time for me in China. When I'm in New Zealand, Western Force evening games are on at like freaking midnight. Canes and Landers game. I'm convinced the game was from the 80s or something. It was a bizarre one. It's like 7-0 at halftime. Low for Super Rugby. Very low. Nick Berry is the Tars personal ref. I think they're doing that on both sides of the Tasman, right? Where one ref is working with like each team. Jules, was a tough watch for the Force fans last night. Glad to see the Blues got it done. Jules, we only just got it done. Yeah, but yeah, I think the Reds bench is what got your team. They needed to score more points in that first half, eh? Secretly hoping Tom Banks was going to run that one, but he's just putting a big up and under. Oh no. Ooh. Tars are lucky that ball didn't bounce right for the Brumbies. Saturday games in France, Canes game in the morning, Bordeaux game in the afternoon. Yeah, that works pretty well, eh? The days I didn't have to work Saturdays when I was in China, from like lunchtime, it was just like New Zealand games, and then afternoon games would be the Aussie games, evening games if there was a game for the Force, and then the South African games would start as well. You could get a lot of games in. Like China was kind of in a good position if you didn't have to work on a Saturday or a Sunday. Mostly Saturday. I worked most Fridays though, and that wasn't conducive to watching rugby because by the time I finished work, most of the games would be done. To wake my 14-year-old up about 50 million times on a school day, says Nov Mum. That sounds about right. Although I'm not as forgiving to let my kids sleep through more than one wake-up call. I lived in Bangkok and the games were like 1 p.m, 3 p.m, was against 5 p.m. That sounds similar to China, Dominic, mate. And then if you got South African games, they were on into the evening. Sometimes even too late for China if they were on late in South Africa. But yeah, it was decent. The reffing in the Canes Landers game. Who was the ref in that game? Oh, was it it was what's his face? The former player. I can see his face. I'm not too far from the young man I used to be, and you were always an early riser. Yeah. I got to admit, my daughter, Ella, she does, when she wakes up, she's ready to get up. I have to wake her up, but then she's out of bed like the Energizer Bunny, whereas my son doesn't want to roll out of bed. I think it was it Paul Williams? I keep getting mixed up with Paul Williams, the player, Paul Williams, the Welsh journalist, and then Paul Williams, the referee. I think it's Paul Williams. He's a bit of a stickler. Always loved the Blues, but the Brumbies colour combination on the jersey is like your favourite of all time. The Brumbies jersey is remarkably consistent, I'll give you that. Every Brumbies jersey doesn't look too much different from the year before it. Not in a bad way either. Like the Blues have had some good ones and the Blues have had some bad ones, but the Brumbies one's pretty consistent. Don't watch much top 14, do you, Mark? There's no broadcaster in it. There's not too much into it, Jamie. It's mostly just time. They do put the games on the local broadcaster here, but not consistently. So how many games they have the rights to, they probably chuck a couple on each week. But it's like, I try to watch the URC, the Premiership, the Champions Cup, where I do get to see a bit of the French teams. Obviously, it doesn't clash with the top 14. Super Rugby, the internationals like Six Nations, and then the top, plus the MLR. I try to watch the MLR a bit as well. So yeah, I don't really see the top 14. It's just a time thing. I think even if I did watch it, if I was to do videos on it, the majority of the French audience probably not too fussed if they, I don't know. I do get a few French viewers on the channel, to be fair, when the Six Nations are on. But I don't know what the reception will be like for top 14. It seems like a really good league in terms of it being competitive. $10 points to 3 now. Paul Willem says an atrocious referee. Yeah, my dad didn't like him either. Then again, my dad doesn't like many refs. Canes fan, you thought the Canes were offside a few times? Yeah, that's the touchies that need to get that, eh? I know he missed that last call where Aaron Smith pointed it out. That one was kind of seemingly right under his nose. He ruled it as a knock on, but it was Artie with his hands on the ground. But this is one of those ones, I guess, in a split second, the ref's got to make a call. Felician says, I used to be an early riser, but my wife is terrible at getting up and beginning to affect you. You and me have had the opposite experience. When I was in China, I used to work 2 o'clock until 9 p.m. I would go to bed anywhere between 2 a.m. and when the sun was coming up. So, yeah, getting married changed that. I would literally just sit there. I was a bachelor, man. I mean, I had a girlfriend, but who's now my wife. But yeah, I would sit there binge watching TV shows or playing computer games and just drinking beers and smoking cigarettes like a freaking chimney. Not very good for you, but I was in my 20s. What can I say? Bears against Bath today, Elliot in the Premiership. I have picked Bristol for that one. Top 14 will be up for games as the photography games start at 9 a.m. Yeah, part of the problem is I have to juggle all the games around my children as well, eh? Like, I can usually get through a game during breakfast, if it's the URC or Premiership, like a European game. But pretty much after that one game, I'm obliged to go and read a book or take the kids out or something. Sometimes I can get them to watch the game with me, but yeah. Yeah, parenting. Parenting is a thing. Daramundi, man, how's it going? Long time no see. 10 points to 3. Brumbies, I think are going to be too good for the Tars in this one, but we'll see. Do I think the Drew will be able to win any non-Rebels games? Gut says no at the moment, but I think they're going to keep improving, so I'll flip it and say yes. You've had very different 20s, you and me, Elliot. Yes. I don't want to say I wasted my 20s. I had a relaxed, cruisy, and entertaining 20s. Like I said, just drinking too much and smoking and spending my money on like a gas-powered remote control car, or BB guns, or just the stupidest things you can imagine. That's what I did with all my 20s. So now I don't buy anything stupid. Trying to watch the MLR, but it can be a tough watch sometimes to flesh it. Yeah, it's a bit like watching club rugby at times, but it can be a bit of fun. Top 14 is normally 3 to 4 games that show on the weekend. Right. Oh, shit. Ugh. My laptop, which the game is streaming from, just almost fell on the floor. Let's put that back over here. Good catch, Mark. Novman was in a bus crash. I don't think I've ever been in a bus crash. How'd that happen? I've been in a bus that got kind of robbed. Back when they used to use cash on the bus, some kids tried to get on the bus and just gave the driver some shit. And the bus driver got angry and chased the first kid that gave him shit. So then the second kid got on the back door, which was open, ran to the front and took some money out the till. And then we all had to get off because he had to get the police and report an incident. That was kind of crap. But that's like 15 years ago. Darramundi can see the Drill winning against someone other than the Rebels, and Moana Pacifica had a solid debut. Yes, they did, eh? Albeit against kind of a less than full strength Crusaders team. It was still good because those guys have been stuck in COVID hell for like the last 2 weeks. Elled's going to try and get into ice hockey. Ice hockey, I can vouch for being a pretty cool sport to watch. It's pretty entertaining. Yeah, there's a lot of parity in ice hockey, so a team like the Rebels will be literally the bottom team 1 year, and in the playoffs like next year, the swings are huge. It's not like, you have to rebuild from the ground up or something. It just seems to be a couple of acquisitions can change a whole team's fortunes. That being said, the Arizona Coyotes are always terrible, so don't back them. Regan says must just about have enough rugby jerseys these days for a different one every day. Not quite. There's definitely 100 there, but there's not 300. There's not 200. Yeah, you and me, Victoria, are on the same page with that Yotes thing. That they're generally pretty terrible. They don't spend much money. They don't spend anywhere near the salary cap. That's why. Bus going straight through car turning out of a side street that didn't give way. Bus swerved, hit car, big bang. Generally, it's not a good idea to pull out in front of anybody, especially a big old bus. Yeah. Not a good idea. How many South African teams are going to make the top 4 in the URC? I haven't actually looked at the table. The Sharks and the Sharks and the Stormers, I think, are the 2 higher teams at the moment, eh? The Bulls have got some digging themselves out of a hole to do. They need to go on a good run because they started the season terribly. The Lions look like the worst of the 4 up, but even they had a decent result against Leinster the other day, although it was a loss. Elliot, if you want an ice hockey team which is going to be good, right now you're probably best off going with like the Tampa Bay Lightning. They seem like they're going to be the business for at least a couple of years. Just put a photo on the Discord. I'll have to have a look in a bit. I don't think I can handle the Discord on this laptop while I got the stream going. Connacht getting humped 56-8. Very frustrating to watch at times. I watched that game this morning, eh? It was... God, there was like a... Wasn't it like an 8-0 lead to Connacht? And then Edinburgh just put on like 56 unanswered points. Bonkers. I was looking at Chicago. The Blackhawks have got a decent recent history, but they're pretty crap at the moment, I believe. They've got a few guys on big contracts who are kind of a bit past their prime. Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane, and those are the two main guys that I can remember. Yeah, I think they're in a bit of a rebuild, but I haven't been following it much this year. Looks like they're trying to start a trans-Tasman ice hockey league called the Pacific Hockey League. And will be a Queenstown franchise called the Queenstown Rush. I never even hear ice hockey being talked about over here, so I would be surprised if they could get it going, but I suppose there's probably a niche market for it, just like there's like a baseball market and, you know, American football and people into it, everything. And the Blackhawks are a shady organisation. Yeah, Victoria, that's true. I'd forgotten about that. The Blackhawks have been maybe not the best in dealing with treating people like humans. Yeah, I don't know any details about it, but I've read a couple of reports, maybe just headlines. I think there were some job losses from the Blackhawks from that, but yeah. I think similar to, think Paddy Jackson with London Irish. I think that kind of similar stuff. I think. Yeah, I don't want to be on the record for anything because I really can't remember any details. So, yeah. You can have a wee Google. If you wanted to back an NHL team, maybe it's a good idea to pick a place you wouldn't mind visiting one day. So Chicago, in that regard, wouldn't be a too bad idea, eh? Maybe more than like Tampa Bay. Is there much in Tampa Bay, Florida to see? I don't know. The Vegas Golden Knights could be a cool one if you wanted to go for Las Vegas. That'll be a place to visit one day, right? And they got a pretty strong team. Winnipeg, yeah, Victoria. How the heck did you choose Winnipeg? Like, is that worse than Edmonton? I'm not sure. Canadian weather seems to be pretty horrendous. I ended up with the New York Islanders, so that's like Long Island. I'm not sure how much you'd be into Long Island. Holy smokes, Charlie Gamble with the big line break. The game's coming alive. He's the big number 7. Must have just run 40 meters. God, he maybe should have passed. He dummied and just went. If he'd given it, they probably get a try, but they've got advantage. Gamble's back in playing halfback. Donaldson, he's brought down as well. Grant, man, how's it going? How's life in sunny Taiwan right now? Angus Bell, back for the advantage. I spent a winter there once with friends, went to a game and can't bring myself to support anyone else. Fair enough, Victoria, that makes sense. Look at that mustache. He had a cricket meeting about Shane Warne? Or just like general cricket stuff? Randomly got sport updates for the New York Islanders sent to my phone a couple of years back and no idea why. I've never searched anything about ice hockey. Become an Islanders fan, man. This was the year that they were going to finally go on and be a genuine contender because they've been in the playoffs the last couple of years. They've been building. They signed a few good players. They moved to their new stadium, which was freshly built. And they basically shit the bed and been terrible this year. So, it's not been going that good. They did have a big COVID outbreak and were forced to play a bunch of games when they were short of players, and then the COVID outbreak spread throughout the rest of the NHL, and they started calling games off. So it was kind of a bit rubbish. But anyway. It's 10 points to 6. I need to update the score. Tars ended up kicking another penalty. So the Brumbies' early dominance kind of gone. If I was going to support any teams in the NHL, it'd be one of the Canadian teams. Darramundi, you're essentially saying you want to support a team which is never going to be a success. Unfortunately. I think part of the way it is with the Canadian dollar, they're kind of always up against it. And the taxes. Like there's this weird thing where they've got the salary cap, which is the same for all the teams. But like if you live in Dallas, you pay, or Florida, you pay way less tax than if you live in, like even New York, or then even worse if you live in Canada. So the Canadian teams are always kind of at a bit of an extra disadvantage. But yeah, Canada loves hockey, so that would kind of be cool. Don't go with the Maple Leafs though. Maybe the Canucks. When's Hooper supposed to be back, Starley? I'm not sure. He's got a foot injury, but I can't remember. Why are the Maple Leaves not called the Maple Leaves? There is a reason for it. I also don't know, understand why, but I think it goes back to with one of the things they were originally called. I can't quite remember. It's one of those ones that was called that and then it just stuck. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I just want to go attend one of their home games, Darramundi. I think getting tickets to some of the games in Canada is pretty tough, though. Frost is over for the Brumbies. Boomfa. 15-6. Just as the Waratahs look to have brought the game back into touching distance, Brumbies go straight on the other end and score. Big carry from Valtini in the build-up. Look at him go. Flattens Newsom. A bit of a speed bump. But yeah, if you want to get tickets to the Montreal Canadiens games, the Toronto Maple Leafs games, I think they're pretty tough. But what is it? Is it Calgary that's always got extra seats because their arena's in a really bad location? I can't remember. Hooper must be the most famous man in Sydney. Only if he played league. Sydney's a league town. Who would you pick to win out of the Moana, Pacifica, and Fiji and Drua sides? Probably the Drua at this point. But we'll see. $17.6, folks. Maybe the northern suburbs of Sydney. And actually, having travelled to Sydney, I can tell you what Big V8 show was talking about is the more affluent areas of Sydney. Will I follow the New York Islanders? You didn't ask, but that came about because when I was looking after my son, I had some parental leave, so I was off for like 3 months. I started watching the playoffs. The Islanders were in the playoffs that year, and they made it out of the first round for like the first time in like, I don't know, 10 years or something, and it was massive. And I was like, right, gonna get behind these guys. They're on the way up, and then they played crap for like the next 2 years. But yeah, I went on that run with them. They beat Florida in the first round of the playoffs. I think it was John Tavares that got the bloody winning goal as well. So I was all behind Team Tavares and the Islanders, and then he left, and then the team actually got better. They've got a new stadium or arena, and things seem to be going pretty well, but this year's results have been poor. Apparently Frost is going overseas. Yeah, he is. He is, mate. I don't know if it's a short term, because I saw it being written as like a big failure in Australian rugby as the kind of guy they should be keeping, so I think it might be long term. We're almost at half time, folks. 39 minutes. Randy, man, how's it going? It is almost trivia time. We're 1 minute away. What a win from the Blues. Bloody hell, we tried our best to throw that one away, didn't we? That last play at the end was just so mind-numbingly Blues dumb. But yeah, I've got some trivia here just to tick. Year you visited Winnipeg, Victoria was the first year they made the playoffs. So you and me are on kind of the same page. At least you were there. I was only watching it on TV, but the same kind of logic, eh? There is something about the playoffs which is a little bit special with ice hockey because they play so many regular season games. It's not as eye-catching. They literally play they can sometimes play 2 games in 2 days, man. It's bonkers. Right. We have half time. 17-6 to the Brumbies at half time. Check some stats in a second. Randy demands trivia, so trivia we will have. Right. This is a New Zealand general sports question. So a lot of you guys are going to have no idea about the answer unless Google can point you in the right direction. No Googling, says Grant. Alright, no Googling. So, yeah, see if you can get it from the top of your heads. Take a guess. How about take a guess without a Google? You might have the most ridiculous answer ever, but that's more fun than just asking Google the answer, right? So, question is, what was triathlete Hamish Carter's biography called? So New Zealand had a well-known triathlete named Hamish Carter. What was the name of his biography? Grant guessed Jonah. No. You probably wrote that before you heard the question, but Hamish Carter's biography was not called Jonah. Tryman. Going for gold. Those are quite good guesses. But Hamish in the bog. No, I think it's a bit of a pun. Right? It's a bit of a pun. The lad, Mark Richardson. What an event. Try hard. New Zealand to gold. These are some great guesses, but you're all wrong. Yes, his surname is Carter. Carter. Carter is in the title, and it's only 2 words. The first word is a verb. That's a clue. So it's something Carter. I think it's a bit of a pun. Oh, Boomfire. Ellen's nailed it. Get Carter. What's that a pun from? What's Get Carter? Is that a song? Is that a 70s TV show reference? What's that from? I feel like that's definitely from something. Somebody enlighten me. I'll grab one more. And we'll see if we can get some more trivia. A film? Yeah, it's like a film or a TV show, right? Get Smart? I feel like there's something Get Carter, but I could be wrong. Isn't the title to almost every sports biography a pun? I think so, Shane. I do think so. There's a movie called Get Carter. A Michael Caine movie. There we go. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. Right. Gonna have a look at some match stats quickly at halftime. And then we will see what the second bit of trivia is. Alright, Victoria, you take care. See you again another time. Go Jets, unless you're playing the Islanders, that is. Gary Freeman's biography was Tiger, Kiwi Rooster, because he played for those. He played for Balmain and Eastern Sydney. The real question is, where's the pineapple pizza? Randy, we're trying to have a friendly time out here today. Good natured. Trying to bring the fire. Possession 61-39, territory 63-37. It's all Brumbies in that regard. But run meters, it's 78 to 146 in favour of the Tars. Less ball, more action. How's that work? Start a poll to ban Randy. Hey, be nice to Randy. I've met Randy. I bumped into him at Eden Park last year. Right. Second trivia question. What do we got? Okay, it's another New Zealand sports question. I feel like I would probably know the answer to this, but maybe not. No Bing or Google. Right. General sports question. Probably a bit easier than the last one, I think. Anyway. Oh, and Hugh's got some context for the last question. It was a Michael Caine movie based in Newcastle, very violent. Nice. This question is, which event did a New Zealand team win for the first time in 1995? You can guess if you don't know the answer. Don't Google it. Just take a stab in the dark. What's the event, sporting event, that New Zealand won for the first time in 95? Allard has kind of nailed it without the actual... Oh, yeah, Allard's got it. There you go. Boomfire. JP's got it as well. Shane's got it as well. It was indeed the America's Cup. If you don't know that, it is a sailing event where some rich dudes get some big old boats and they sail them. So there you go, America's Cup. That was Coots and Dalton and them, right? Peter Blake, I think. Was that the Red Sox one? You have to. Some of you guys are probably too young to remember that. I think that was the Red Sox. But the Red Sox might have been the next one, the defense. I can't quite remember. And yeah, Novman, I'll give you half a point for the fact that it's a water-based one. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I would have been in intermediate. I seem to remember that was the Red Sox one, but I can't remember. I'm impressed you remembered that as well, Alad. How old would you have been in 1995? Pretty young. Question, Hugh, what the hell happened to Shane Warne? Apparently he had a heart attack, which is kind of crazy when you're 52, but I guess it can happen to anyone, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Don't know. Alad was -4 in 1995. Jeez. You're a young fella. -3, fair enough. Do you see Super Rugby, says Will, expanding again anytime soon to like Argentina or Japan? I would say not in the immediate future. The Japanese have just turned their competition to fully professional, which essentially means they are their own thing. They don't want to be part of anybody else. And Argentina is geographically too far away for New Zealand Rugby to want to get them back in. They want to keep things local. So, yeah, I would say no. 1995. So, Alad wasn't born. Novman was 19. Grant was 21, having fun. I would have been, intermediate. So, what's that? 12? 13? Got the halftime show going, and the Brumbies coach is giving everyone a big old lecture. He's got the whole team listening, forwards and the backs. That's how you know it's serious. Alad was still in Baghdad. Oh, I've never heard that one before. That's quite a weak pun. I like that one. That's news to me. That's got to be an oldie, but it's a new one to me. Last weekend it was Pacifica All Black Wingers. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we had a couple of rugby deaths, and now it's a couple of cricket deaths. It's kind of crazy coincidence. Wasn't born in 95, Daryl Mundy. It's pretty young. But I guess my son's going to look at your age and go, I wasn't born that time either, so... Yep. It happens to every generation. You get old. Fleshin's not getting into this, I don't blame you. Oh, man. I don't blame you at all. When I first started teaching in China, I was 21 and my students were like 15. So there wasn't actually that much age gap in the scheme of things. I used to tell them my age, and then after a few years teaching, I stopped, because they would always guess that I was older than I was, because they didn't expect a 21 or 22 or 23-year-old to be teaching. But then, once they start guessing the other way around, you got to stop asking that question. Australia, New Zealand time zone, not so friendly for Argentinian team, with only team competing competition. They'll probably be playing at 4 in the morning. Yeah, I seem to remember the Juarez games used to be on like a Sunday morning, because I remember it would clash with my kids swimming. Like, this was all pre-COVID stuff, back when my kids went swimming in the mornings. So it wasn't too bad. It was an evening, but it would be terrible for Australia, that's for sure. But I don't think New Zealand Rugby's got any interest in getting out of their own backyard. Heard Shane Warne might have liked a bit of sniff. Hugh, I think I know what you're saying there, and yeah, I think he lived a pretty exciting life. Yep. Never met the guy, so I wouldn't know, but yeah. Hachipan says, I thought it was Dan Carter, A Perfect 10, but I got it confused with the documentary. I knew Carter was too humble to call it that. Eh? What is Dan Carter's one called? I've got a copy of it here. It is called Dan Carter Perfect 10, right? Dan Carter Perfect 10. That's his movie. That's not a very humble title. I'm sure he didn't name it. Apparently, he is pretty kind of low key though, because I went to this thing called the All Blacks Experience the other day, where you get to have a look around this exhibition thing in Auckland. Apparently he took his kids there and he was all very he didn't like make a big deal about it, and he told people who were accompanying him on the tour some cool All Black stories behind the scenes stuff. So yeah. Right, Rando, the book. What was his book called then? Certainly his film is a perfect 10. I gotta be honest, I think I preferred Richie's movie to Dan's one, but anyway. You should get a DVD copy of the greatest movie of all time, The Kick. I think you can stream The Kick for free here in New Zealand. I'm pretty sure. I have seen The Kick. If you guys don't know what The Kick is, it's Stephen Donald's movie. Stephen Donald, the fourth choice 10, who kicked New Zealand's penalty to win the 2011 Rugby World Cup. It's kind of his journey from being an outcast, dropped by the All Blacks, to getting back into the squad, to getting back into the final and kicking that goal, wearing a shirt that was too small for him. Is there a South American rugby comp, Jamie? Yeah, there's one called the SLAR. I forget what it stands for. I'm assuming the R is for rugby, South is for S is for South, A is for America. I think it's Liga. So, yeah. But it seems to be kind of like semi-pro. Most of the top Hawaras guys went to contracts overseas anyway. Right, second half is just getting underway. 17-6 at half time. Brumbies up over the Tars. Remember them hyping up the kick so much when it ended up being disappointed when it came out, says Starleo. Yeah, maybe you guys aren't used to it, but New Zealand doesn't usually make... I mean, we make a few decent looking movies, but a lot of our movies kind of look very low budget, and the kick looked pretty low budget. Because we're a small country, we don't have that much money to spend on locally produced content. Like, the government gives you a grant if you apply for it to make a local movie. So yeah. Superliga Americana de Rugby. There you go. There you go. So the S was not for South or Sud, it's for Super. So I got that one wrong. It's good though, because it's not just Argentina, it's a few countries represented. Right, is anyone picking a Brumbies meltdown in the second half, or are they just going to go on and extend this lead because they've started the second half with a bit of a hiss and a roar? James, what's the beer of choice? It is the old reliable. It's Spates today. They're the sponsor of the Highlanders. If you haven't seen it before. Grant has to edit a Warnie article now. Man, that's tough. Someone put on Twitter like two of the greatest PlayStation, original PlayStation games from back in the day. John Alomu Rugby and Shane Warne Cricket. And it's true, man. I grew up playing those games. Those were like the sporting representations of the two biggest games that I followed. It's crazy. Despite the bad publicity, Warnie never touched drugs. Really? Oh, maybe it was just because didn't he get a ban for drugs, but it was like weight loss or something? I can't remember. It's too long ago. Do you know what we used to chant at Warnie when he played in New Zealand? Is anyone a Kiwi here that ever went to a cricket game when Shane Warne was bowling? And what we used to chant at him? Like, New Zealand rugby crowds are very quiet, but cricket's a whole day game. So you get people that much alcohol in them, they're going to come up with some interesting stuff. Like, you Europeans seem to do it, but you guys can do it sober. New Zealanders need to get quite, half cut before they can come up with any chants. Lord of the Rings was a New Zealand production produced by Americans, mate. That's American money. I'm talking about New Zealand money. Football chants in the UK are the best ever. Agree. But the chant we used to have, at least when I went to a few games, was something along the lines of whenever Shane Warne was bowling, who ate all the pies? Who ate all the pies? You fat bastard, you fat bastard, you ate all the pies. I think that was it. Yeah. Because Shane Warne was a bit of a chubs for a professional sportsman. Yeah. But that's nothing on, like you said, like what the football teams come up with. They come up with some mental stuff and they do it sober. For New Zealand crowds, that's pretty. That's pretty next level. Favorite Lord of the Rings character? Gimli was pretty funny. We also used to chant, I think I've talked about this before, but Waka Yunus, the Pakistani bowler, we used to chant Waka's a wanker over and over and over again to the tune of Waka's a wanker. What's that tune? Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum. Yeah. And then he would just rip through our team and make us all look stupid. Ah, my childhood. That's how you know you're getting old. Because that was a long time ago. All those guys are either politicians or dead now. Gimli, played by John Rhys Davies, grew up 7 miles from you in Ammanford, says Ellard. He's a prick in real life. How do you know he's a prick in real life? You've got to dish some dirt there. The days of the Eden Park terraces, shame, mate. I was there. Yeah, me and Gazza. Gazza used to take me to the cricket. And, yeah, we would... I mean, the start... some of you guys probably don't even have cricket where you're watching. Some of you guys would. Most of you guys would. But, like, the cricket's a seriously long game, and people can get pretty drunk in that whole day, even on watered down expensive beers. So like the start of the day, everything's happy. By the end of it, anytime the Mexican wave goes around, people are chucking up all kinds of shit into the air. So you've got those they give you like usually a sign that says like 4 or 6 on like, you know, a piece of like laminated cardboard. So when they score a 4, you're supposed to do this. When they score a 6, you're supposed to do that. Like, you're just ducking under the thing to avoid all the splatter of crap that's going to come. Like, some guys would piss in their cups and then chuck it up in the air. Yeah, they started cracking down on that stuff in more recent times. Oh, it's a try. Nah, the game hasn't finished, Jacob. I'm just getting sidetracked. The Brumbies are running away with this one. The Brumbies are absolutely running away with it. It's 48 minutes and the Brumbies have just scored another one. The Tars stole the Brumbies ball at line-out time, but then the ball just bobbled out, or did it get ripped? But either way, it's just quick thinking, heads-up play, step on the inside. The defence there from the Tars is just shocking. Tim, man, how's it going? You guys are playing Bristol today. I've picked Bristol, I'm afraid. He's a UKIP member and was on BBC Question Time. Watch it if you want to despair. Oh, maybe I won't watch it because then I won't like Gimli anymore. Sorry, 24-6. Where did Jack Maddox go? I think he went to Pau in France, I think. Drinking all day in the sun with no shade does that to you. Yeah. I'm surprised my dad let me go on the terraces, but I guess we were on a budget. Terraces are the cheap seats. James, man, how's it going? It's 24-6. The Waratahs absolutely need to score next and then score again. And yes, Jack Maddox didn't really do much defending. He was pretty atrocious, but very, very good going forward. Tim's hoping for a good win for Bath today. I mean, I'm hoping for your boys, but... James says, I would always play B team school T20 cricket, best days of your life. There is something about school cricket which is pretty fun, I gotta admit. Bristol are not the team they have been. Tim, what about Bath? Do you think the Tars are a better team than they currently are playing? Yes, they definitely underperformed by a mile last year. I think they're still a work in progress. We are terrible, but I've got a good feeling about today. See how that goes, man. Fingers crossed for you. I'll knock on some wood. Excited about Ireland coming down here for 3 matches, Shane. Yeah, I'll be keen to see how Ireland finish off in their Six Nations, and then also keen to see what kind of squad they bring, because their coach Andy Farrell doesn't. He's done it a bit, but he's not a big guy on experimenting. Whenever the French come down here mid-year, they always bring a B team, like the same team they took to Australia last year is the kind of thing we expect. But I think Ireland tend to bring a pretty strong team. They went to Australia in 2018, right? And they brought a pretty tidy looking side. So, yeah. I'm hoping Andy Farrell brings the big guns. And next weekend, England, Ireland, Tim. Yeah, it's going to be massive. Your boys, England, haven't quite clicked yet. Eddie's under a wee bit of pressure. Jamie Roberts has been on the bench the last couple of weeks, Hugh, but let's have a look. Oh yeah, he is on the bench for this one apparently. So we should see him hopefully in the next 10-15 minutes. They haven't shown him at all, which is bizarre. Maybe ESPN's got their listings wrong. Don't know. Still don't know how Leinster got away with signing Scott Fardy. What's wrong with Scott Fardy, James? There sounds like there's a story here I'm missing. Jesse Mogg, I haven't seen him yet, mate. I haven't seen Jesse. Got a couple of tries last week. Because he shaved his head, it's kind of hard to tell if he's aged much, eh? He hasn't got that kind of key tell. Tim's off to nurse a hangover. Take care, bud. Take care, man. Jonathan, mate, we're going good. We are going good. We're watching some Super Rugby. The Waratahs are getting pretty well beaten at the moment. Nothing wrong with it. He's a very good player. Surely should have stayed in the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah, a lot of the Aussie guys who are kind of in that area end up taking off. Jonathan, I am at 56:12 on the clock. So yeah, there's still like 25 minutes left, or 24 for the Tars to come back, but it's not looking likely. And Jacob, unfortunately, in the UK, unless you want to go dodgy streams, it's on Sanzar's own broadcast site. So no major broadcaster has the rights to it. So if you've got like Sky or BT or whoever, it's not going to be on there. The Tars though are right down the down the right end of the field at the moment, but they absolutely need to score. 6 phases. Donaldson, there's a big gap there. Go, man! Bro, just... I think he could have gone himself. I think he could have reached, but he got it to Bill. Tars, I'd have to pull a Canes. Well, there's the start of it. Commentators have just said basically what I said, which was, why didn't he just reach and put the ball down? Good gap. But oh well, he passed it. Much needed try that one. He's got to kick this one, so it's gonna be 24-13. Fleshin, is there a across the board Super Rugby salary cap, or is it a free for all? My understanding is the New Zealand teams have a salary cap. Oops. No, don't. You're gonna get me in trouble with Sansa. Just pulled out my cable. My understanding is that the New Zealand teams have a cap, the Aussie teams have their own cap. But it gets a bit confusing because New Zealand Rugby tops up the contracts of the players who are centrally contracted to the All Blacks. So you could be making the top of the salary cap for your super team, but then you get topped up by the central contract. So it's not so clear cut, if you know what I mean. But there is a maximum for the team, and there's a maximum and minimum per player that you can pay. Surely not in trouble for that, clearly an accident. Yeah, hopefully not. With Sansa, you never know. They're very particular. Squidge once got copyrighted for like 2 seconds of a... Maybe not even 2 seconds, like 1.5 seconds or something of a Sansa or a Sky Sport copyrighted video. So, yeah. It was less than... It was only a couple of seconds, I remember that much, so... You never know. I think Rusty is trying to get rid of the salary cap for the South African teams. Do you think it's better with no salary cap? There's pros and cons for both. the helpful thing with the South Africans, if they can get rid of the salary cap, will be the ability to pay the players closer wages to what they might get abroad. Because South Africa bleeds players, I think, largely due to the strength of the currency compared to the rand. Like more so than Australia or New Zealand. I mean, obviously the guys can get more money in Europe than they can in Australia or New Zealand, but it's not like how many more fold it would be. Like you can probably get double or triple what you'd get in New Zealand abroad, but you wouldn't get, I don't know, 5 or 10 times, I wouldn't think. I don't know. On Shame on conspiracy theory says the COVID vaccine gave her, heart issues. I mean, I don't know, man. I know that anytime somebody who seems too young to die dies recently, there's people say it must have been because of a vaccine. I don't know. Something I know pretty much nothing about other than what I've Googled. But anyway. I think Joe Rogan on one podcast with Bill Burr was trying to get Bill Burr to like comment about vaccine stuff, and Bill Burr was just like, bro, I'm a comedian, you're a comedian, like neither of us should be giving any kind of informed opinion about this kind of thing. And I was like, that's probably smart. Uninformed opinion maybe. The issue with South Africa is that the rand isn't worth anything. Yeah, it's just comparatively, I think guys can earn a lot more abroad. I think. Am I ever going to come up to Europe? One of these days, man. One of these days. Grant Dexter, 75 new Taiwan dollars, says the vaccines brought down the two towers. No doubt, man. Cheers, brother. Hope things are going well despite the bad cricket news. But yeah. Conspiracy theories are fun, huh? Do I believe in any conspiracy theories? I don't believe in flat Earth. I don't think I believe in any of the major conspiracy theories. Maybe I'm just a big old sheep. Any plans on going to the 2023 World Cup? Probably not at this point, mate. Unfortunately. One of the drawbacks of leaving my old job means I'm on less money than I used to be. So I'm not out on the street. I can still afford to buy beers, but I just don't save that much, eh? YouTube's really inconsistent with basically how much you can make. It's not like you know how much you're getting paid every month and you can guarantee that. Like I could do the same amount of, like January always sucks on YouTube. I could do double the videos and still earn half the money. I don't know what it is about January. I think all the advertisers have spent all their money on Christmas advertising, so nobody advertises in January. It's just a weird thing, eh? But I'm happy. I'm not doing my old shitty job, which I'm not too disappointed about. I'm not a flat earther, Flesh, and no, sorry to disappoint you. JP doesn't believe in the moon landings. Pretty sure I believe in the moon landings. Believe the Earth is round. I don't think I have a strong opinion about JFK. Don't think I believe Hitler got to like escape to South America. What are the other ones? Yeah, I think I'm pretty sheepy. I just go along with the stories. Morning, Jamie, mate. How's it going? Well, flying with a flat earther, I just saw the Earth behind a cloud. Did it look around? Yeah, but what? I just saw the Earth behind a cloud. I don't think I can get my head around that. Oh, actually, the Star Wars Jar Jar Binks theory. Yes, that one is maybe worth believing in. He plotted basically the downfall of everybody, right? Of the Republic. That one I can maybe get on board with. Lizard people run the world. Yeah, don't think I'm sold on the lizard people. Although politicians are kind of like lizard people, so maybe. Oh, 95 World Cup final. What's her name? The food poisoner? What was her name? I have to hand him my New Zealand citizenship. I can't remember the name of the accused poisoner. Susie. It was Susie. Yeah, okay. Give me my citizenship back. I got it before. Yeah, there it is, Grant. Susie. I do believe the New Zealand guys got sick. Whether or not that's food poisoning, that might be a bit of a stretch. I mean, guys can get sick, right? That wouldn't be unheard of. Elvis is still alive. Unfortunately, I think Elvis has left the building. Rather have reptiles instead of the current idiots, Gareth. Yeah, kind of feeling on that one. Yeah, food poisoning is hard to prove, eh? The guys were definitely sick. But, I mean, even then they still had opportunities to win that game and didn't win it, so gotta let it go, man. Still burns, but what's done is done. Didn't win it on the day. Salad leaves can give you E. coli, exactly right. So, even if they did get food poisoning, that doesn't mean it was necessarily intentionally plotted by somebody. Right? Hear about Warren Harrison? Yeah, man. Shane Warne. 52 years old. Crazy. Honestly, like, Shane Warne was that good in his prime. Like, you just knew when that guy came on, you were just begging your guys, please just survive. Just survive until he, finishes his 6 balls. What's going to be the best Six Nations game next week? So we got Wales hosting France. You got Ireland travelling to Twickenham. And then you got Scotland, Italy. That's quite a round, isn't it? You've got France with the pressure of the slam away. And you've already seen what happened once when Wales were kind of written off at home this season. Ireland and England just don't like each other. And then, I mean, Scotland should beat Italy, really, but there's a little bit of talk about that being a potential banana skin. I would say France and Wales at the moment, but I don't know. Ireland and England should always be pretty good. Ireland and Dublin, I think it's at Twickenham. I'm pretty confident it's at Twickenham. Any game involving France will be the best at the moment, Jamie. That's kind of where I'm at. Because each game, when you watch France, there's a high chance they're going to do some magic stuff like Dupont and Tamak and Pinot. They're just going to entertain you. But there's a slight chance that it's going to absolutely have a meltdown. This team's like almost on the verge of being beyond the meltdown, but I still feel like it's... Until they can win a Six Nations, I'm still going to have that lingering doubt. We're almost into the last 10 minutes of this game. The Brumbies are down the right end of the field, and I think they'll probably finish the game off if they score next. Penalty won't do it, but a try would. Wales at the Prince is never going to be easy. Exactly. That's why I quite proudly picked Wales to beat Scotland a couple of weeks ago and got that one right. But it's easier to flag the ones where you picked it right and ignore the ones where you picked them wrong. I also picked some ones wrong, so... My dad just came home with tickets to England versus Ireland. Massive away day. Wow, man, that's going to be massive. I think tickets to Twickenham can be pretty hard to get, right? You need to know somebody or know a member or something of a club. Here we go. Brumbies are hot on attack. They got advantage. Back for the penalty. Wales got robbed versus England last week. England only scored one try. Wales scored 3. So, yep. That was a bit of a funny game. My dad's friend works for a company in London, so you got to know somebody, right? You definitely got to know somebody. Ellen, why does your stream keep crashing? I promise I'm not doing anything wrong. It's not that hard. You can be part of any amateurs club in England. But like, what if me, a tourist, wanted to go to England and hopefully catch a Six Nations game? I wouldn't just be able to rock up and buy tickets. Like, if you want to get All Blacks tickets, you could just get off the plane, you know, buy yourself a ticket. It's 27-13. But yeah, if I ever get over to the UK and Ireland and France and Italy during Six Nations time, you better believe I'm going to be begging people, like, does anybody know someone who can get me a ticket to this game? Because I'll have to go if I ever get up there. Absolutely shameless. First half of England-Wales was painfully boring, Jamie. Yeah, second half came alive. One of those ones where you sit through that first half and get rewarded if you stayed. If you went to bed, you maybe missed out. Come on, Tars. You can score here. Go, 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 go. Will Harris has just scored in the corner. Happy days. I picked the Brumbies by 6, so maybe I'm looking not too bad at the moment. Well, welcome to Stay With You. You hold the tickets out. Good man. I will mooch off everybody for free accommodation and free tickets if I can. Jamie Roberts is on the field. Happy days. He absolutely gets that down. That's a try. Give that. Please, Mr. TMO. Maybe the Brumbies are going to pay for not opting for a try. They went for the points earlier and the Waratahs are hit back. Big conversion coming up here. He's nailed it. He has nailed it. It's 27-20. Just join the AB Supporters Club. You get tickets, my mate. Cousin does it. You have to buy packages. Oh, yeah? Are you talking about games in New Zealand or overseas? I live in Japan, mate. If I can so much as live to see a Mitre 10 game, you'll be happy. Well, Mitre 10 games, very easy to get tickets to, absolutely. Just got to get to New Zealand, that's it. We're not too far from Japan. Overseas games, right, okay. Yeah, you've got to buy those tour packages, though, so you need to have a bit of coin. You need to have a bit of coin. So Mundy's got Brumbies by 10, so hoping it stays like this. I got the Brumbies by 6. So I am in the money at the moment with it being 7. So if it stays like this, I'm also with a margin. There's 4 minutes to go. The Brumbies have just knocked... No, the Waratahs have just knocked it on. Jonathan misses the whiteboard when I change the setup. Yeah, I basically changed the setup so I wouldn't have to move around my computer and stuff, eh? Like, this is where my computer sits 99% of the time, except when I go over there to record on the whiteboard, so... One of these days I'll get myself a proper studio. But, again, save money. I'm buying less jerseys, so hopefully trying to save more. How many do I have Bristol by later? Well, Tim has left the stream, so I can tell you I picked Bristol by 10. Bristol by 10, maybe conservative. Maybe about right. Losing bonus point would be ideal for the Tars. I mean, compared to last year, this is night and day, isn't it? Waratahs get a scrum penalty. Still game on. Best away day is Edinburgh, huh? Murrayfield looks like a pretty atmospheric stadium as well. There's a few good ones up north though. Look at Jake Gordon. Jesus. He looks like he's been in the wars, doesn't he? Zach, man. Congrats to the Blues. Cheers, man. Yeah, you guys had a chance to win at the Blues. Under pressure at the end. Didn't handle it well, but just Gatlin's boot was just a bit off, eh? Good game, though. Close. Convert one of the kids' rooms into a studio. This house has got 3 bedrooms. One for me and my wife, one for one kid, one for the other kid. That's it. So my setup is in the living room. This is the living room. That's why when my wife wants to get me out into a garage at some point, problem is I don't have a garage. So yeah, I need to build a garage and put a studio on the back. That's the plan, long term. Much longer term. By that stage, one of the kids might have freaking moved out and gone to university, so I might just be able to convert it, but that's we'll see. Golden point if it's a draw. Yes, actually, I think you're right. Super Rugby does do golden point, which is maybe not great because golden point tends to suck. I think we've had one good golden point game from the ones that have finished in draws and a couple of real stinkers last year. Bowden Barrett did play. Jonathan Mate, he came off the bench. He looked a bit rusty, and yeah, he had a really bad concussion, so he was contemplating it from what I understand. Build a shed. Yeah, I don't really have much space for a shed. Unfortunately, I don't have much land. It's a pretty small section with a pretty small house on it, and that uses up most of everything. But I do have a carport, which I could convert into a garage and potentially chuck a little studio on the back. I've got enough space for that. That's the plan. If Wales win the World Cup next year, you will buy me a garage. Bro, go Wales. Put the garage on it. This game is still going. The clock's in the red. Or sell a kid. True, it's another option, but I don't think my wife would be too keen somehow. Waratahs are still in their own half. They've gone 9 phases. What's going to give first? Brumbies concede a penalty or the Waratahs knock the ball on? "12 phases. I'll bet on Wales to win the World Cup, so your prize money will sort it out. Nice. Oh, he's in touch. He's in touch. Brumbies have held on, but that's a pretty solid result for the Tars. You got to be decently satisfied with that. Right? That's a decent result. Definitely a decent result. Like Zach says, Waratahs are impressive. Built an underground man cave. Somehow I think underground probably is slightly more expensive. You're probably cheaper to go up. Make like a crawl space or something, an attic, I don't know. But yeah, Waratahs looking gutted, but they can certainly hold their heads up high after that one. Brumbies have been pushed. Yeah, good game. Good game. Right. I think I'm going to... What? A mate of mine legit advertised this kid on the marketplace as a joke, punishment. Things got hectic, hate mail, and the police called. Bloody hell. Yeah, okay. For any police watching, I don't plan to sell either of my children. Right. Yeah, cheers everybody. I'm going to head off to bed. Depending on how my son's COVID case goes, I'll see how I'm going with videos for the next few days. If I get a bad case of COVID, I may sit on my fat bum for a while. But if I manage to avoid it or just get a mild one, we'll hopefully truck on. But we will see how that goes. He was basically just sleeping throughout the whole day, so if that's what happens, I can manage that. But anyway, you guys all take care of yourselves, and yeah, I will catch you guys for another one, hopefully, some point soon. Take care, everyone.